All right, what is up, guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today I'm with. How do I pronounce your name correctly? Esraymuk? Am I saying that wrong?
Ezra. Ezra
All
is
right,
cool. Ezra is
Esray.
cool.
So I've been coaching Esray for a bit now. He's a carry player, Crusader 3. Am I getting that wrong? Yeah, Crusader 3. And we wanted to record one of these coaching sessions where we just go over kind of whatever, and it should be really fun. So thanks for doing this, Esray. And
Yep, no worries.
yeah, let's get into it. So just for a bit of context, this is a game where things got really weird. He had a pretty decent start, minute 25-ish, top net worth, but couldn't close out the game. So probably a lot of team fight decision making we'll cover. For instance, here, this lane pushes in really hard. It's mainly because this creep gets focused down. Why does that happen? Okay, yeah, just try to be careful about like blocking, even if it's slight. Like, I know it seems really minute and seems really slight, but even blocking one creep slightly ahead can pretty hard grief the lane equilibrium, like right away. You know, you see how you kind of like block this one ahead?
Yeah.
Just be careful about doing that, because it makes...
Then they will focus one down, right?
Yeah, that could happen. It ended up actually getting fixed briefly because of the Witch Doctor, but okay, Slaughter, pretty hard matchup, but yeah, even there, don't auto the range like that. Like, you walked up and auto the range, you instantly kind of like hard shove the wave, because this guy seemingly is alone. At least I don't know. It looks like he's alone, so just be careful about autoing at all. Like,
Makes sense.
especially when you see the wave shoving in like this, your priority should be just deny, deny, deny. Okay.
Yeah, we got some weird SF support who turns out later in the game to be actually pretty useful. So
Classic. I mean, it's not that bad of a laner. Okay, I'm glad you didn't walk up. I think old you might have walked up there. So that was good.
Yeah.
You just save your HP. So this is definitely a lane, I don't know if you identify it, but this is a lane where it's good to poke him a little bit, but once he runs out of mana, you don't want to hit him, right? So we'll see how that plays out. I want to see if like you kind of overtrade with this guy, because that's how this matchup plays, and if you don't know that or you don't play around that, things can get ugly, because just base trading with Slaughter is very bad because of bash,
Yeah.
of course.
right.
Okay, want to see aggro here. Okay, just make sure you're pulling the lane back, right? Remember, like, yes, you're in a winning position, and you should like focus on getting this deny, potentially, but all these CS get weird, and the only reason why they can contest them so conveniently is because you're not pulling it back, right?
Makes sense.
So just,
Creep aggro back onto the range, right?
yeah, over and over again, especially when you're playing these melee heroes, you know, like, you can't afford to just get every single creep contested, and you're not playing to bully them off the wave, and so the only play is, yeah, so this is good. That was really good. Then you should do it again here, right? And the thing is, you're kind of at the level where you're getting there, and you're getting better. It just still has to be way more consistent, and that will help you get towards, you know, this 3.5k, 4k level, where it's not just like every other or every third creep. It's like every creep is being
sense.
aggroed. Yeah. And of course, if you're in a winning lane, you don't need to do this, right? If you're playing Monkey King, you don't need to play like this. It's just that when you're playing AM and you're not looking to do anything, it's just about making sure they can't deny the creeps. That's basically it. That's the whole goal. But it's very important. Your CS is great though, so that's solid. The only thing I'd say here is you've done this a couple times now, where you shove in the wave, and then you look to the large camp. And like, it's very clear, it's good that you're looking to pull, right? I can tell you're looking to pull, and that's reasonable, and it's good that this guy is trying. But your priority needs to be, especially when you're playing AM, you can afford to approach the wave here. You're not going to die from full HP, right? There's no chance. So, well, what should your goal be? What should you be trying to do in this scenario?
Pull the wave back, I guess.
From, yeah,
Right.
exactly, but specifically from where? So I'm going to play it out. From where should you be doing it?
You mean from what point in time should I be just walking up to the lane and pulling it back?
No, yes, and also, where should you literally be standing? Your hero. Where should your hero be?
Kind of to the left, I guess. Not in the center here for no reason.
Yeah. But and it seems minute, but it's really important, because as people get better and better, let's say this SF isn't a complete bot who's just like doing I don't know what, you know what I mean? He's going to be standing here potentially, and looking to zone you, and so you just want to be
Right.
pulling away from that guy. Typically, you're
Makes
pulling
sense.
creep aggro away from the range position 4 so they can't hit you. Right? Standing on the right side of lane here is... It's extremely questionable. And on top of that, yeah, you've missed a couple CS because you just worried too much about this.
Bullying.
Yeah, exactly.
Trust.
You
Trust
have to
the five
trust.
a bit more.
You have to trust. You have no choice, right? Like, really, you have no choice.
Right.
It can feel bad when they're doing nothing, but you have no choice. Only when they leave and the lane is completely unplayable should you take it into your own hands. You know what I mean? Like, if they fuck off and you have no play, you can't jungle, then okay,
Yeah.
you know. But until then, you gotta trust them and just focus on getting every creep you can, building up every little advantage.
Yeah, makes sense. I've been trying to like ping them a bit more and say like block the camp, you know, pull now, whatever. Like,
Yeah, it's good.
Sometimes it works.
Yeah, for sure. As long as you're friendly about it, it's definitely really, really beneficial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've seen this thing where like fives. I've had this problem in some lanes where fives leave at like level 3 or level 4. They just like go, oh yeah, I'm off, and then they go and get the bounty rune, which you know is fine, but they leave at like really inopportune times, and then I end up feeding or whatever, and it's just really frustrating. Like,
Yeah.
what do you do in that situation? I guess just try your best to lone pull and like play safe.
Yeah,
Give up a
the
couple
literal.
waves.
It is good to keep it simple in your head, which you kind of are doing there. Which is yeah, like you literally only have 2 real options, which is try to pull creep aggro multiple times because you can pull it on like to your range creep, right? The first thing you do with creep aggro is onto the range creep, and then if you do it again, you can literally run away with the creep wave. So there's
sense.
that hard aggro and then pulling. That's it. Right? That is legitimately all you can do, and so it's important to keep it straightforward in your head.
Okay.
Yeah, because it is pretty normal for supports to contest pulls. Bounty runes and water runes and power runes, and then you have to play accordingly when they're doing that, or they're just AFK. You know, they could be doing that too. Nothing.
Yeah, I feel like it's like at least 30% of supports at this rank just are semi AFK. I've never ever seen a support contest a water rune. That's just not even a concept. That's
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
to be real. Like,
I can see that. I can see that. Yeah, yeah.
they grab the bounty rune, then they come back, which is never taken. So that's
Right.
what they do generally.
No, I hear you.
And in that window of time, sometimes the lane is unplayable because, yeah,
Your matchup's
Just
bad.
like
Maybe you
that.
fucked up. Yeah, until then. Yeah.
sure, yeah, exactly. So I guess just play safe and accept that I'm going to lose like a wave or something, right? Fine.
Yeah, losing the occasional wave is okay if it's gonna enable you to get a pull off. Things like this is important to focus on. Like, so for instance here, the lane's in a good position, and you want to keep it here, right? So the main way to do that is by preventing your range creeps from just killing everything. So what do you have to do in a situation right here?
Aggro the creeps onto the range, right? Aggro the
Yeah.
enemy creeps.
No, exactly. And the fact that you don't do this is gonna cause what to happen?
Wave to push, lane to push, and then it'll be in the middle somewhere and be less playable.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you'll end up in the middle. Yeah. Yeah, because this
Yeah, no,
double
no.
range creeps are brutal. They like shred the waves. So
Makes sense.
even here, like if you can try to pull these 2 melees onto this range because the range does the most damage. Especially when you pull aggro, the range will keep hitting, but the melees will have to chase, so they'll stop doing
Right.
damage briefly. Yeah, so the range creeps kind of just annihilate the wave. And this whole... Let's actually see how you used your blink. Only because committing blink aggressively early game is typically considered really low skill. Because it's
Yeah,
your disengage, right? You rarely, not never, but rarely want to, yeah, this is horrible. Never do that.
Oh, I blinked into like 3 people. Yeah.
Yeah, with you blinked into 3 people with like kind of a limited, like an unclear goal. Like I'm not really sure why you did it. The only reason you should blink in is if someone's like 1 HP and you're finishing them off, or if
Yeah,
they're just
yeah.
completely out of position. But
In this case, none of that's the case. Sure, I get it. I think I was just like panicking, going, "Oh shit, Lena's here."
yeah, she did kind of come out of nowhere. It was,
Yeah, but I should have seen it. I don't know, that's my bad.
it's true. You could have looked at the map. I mean, realistically, she's supposed to tell you, to be blunt. But
Yeah, no, I didn't.
doesn't-
To be fair, I just didn't watch the map. Then suddenly she was there, and I was like, "Fuck, get in." But no, that was bad.
Yeah, kind of same thing here. Because you might be like, oh, it's 8 minutes in, maybe I should push the wave. The thing is though, like, what are you gonna do after you push the wave, right? There's
Jungle, but not really.
maybe, yeah. As any mage is pretty tough, you know. Like,
Right.
maybe if you have treads, you could kill the large camp, but because you're a bit under farm now, like now that the CS is kind of, even though funny enough you're the second highest, which is good, you know. But it's not.
Oh, it's still low. I get it. No.
Yeah, I
worries.
want you to have the expectations that you should have, like, you know, I want you to be the highest every game, basically no matter what the lane is, based on these, you know, the ideas that you're taking out. So this is good. And then once again, just try to keep pulling aggro under range. Like this next game you play, that should be your goal. Almost every time the wave meets, outside of the first wave, because I don't want you pulling aggro immediately under tower. That wouldn't be particularly useful. But outside of that, try to put an emphasis on getting your range creeps killed, because it's going to deny XP from the enemy, and it's going to put the lane in a good spot. It's really important.
Makes sense.
It's going to give you longevity in these matchups. Okay, that was good pressure. Yeah, that was really good. So at this point you could look to push the wave, and the reason why it is okay is the pole camp is open, and maybe you're strong enough to kill this large camp. You also have 4 tangos, which you could be using a bit more sparingly to like hit creeps. Okay, it looks like you're going to keep the wave back, which is okay actually. It's really honestly all right.
Yeah, just chilling here, it seems.
It's okay, but definitely you're at the point in the lane where you easily, or at the point in the game where you easily could jungle. So you've kind of done this in a backwards order. Funny enough, it's like when you couldn't really jungle, you were auto attacking a bit too much, and auto attacking a bit too much and not really aggroing. And now, I mean, to be fair, there's no fights going on, which makes things a lot less distracting. It's easier to focus on the creep equilibrium. But yeah, it's just a bit backwards, because now you have broadsword and shreds, and you even have 4 tangos, which would help you sustain the jungle creeps too.
Yeah.
So this would have been the time to start considering pushing it in, and not even consider. You definitely should push it in. Like, you don't even need to pull. You could just kill this camp.
Makes sense.
And if this guy's bullying you out, you should just be ignoring him. Like, it's very important that you as a player kind of, this is the hardest part about Dota, just to be blunt, knows how strong you are relative to this guy. And you have to look at him and think about him while you're doing all of these things if you want to get to the highest level. But it's just like, can you fight this guy one-on-one? Right? Like, what's the answer?
Definitely not.
No.
Absolutely not. It's not even close. Yeah.
Exactly. So then what do you do in those scenarios?
Push it out and go jungle, I guess.
Yeah.
Avoid him.
Right. Push it out jungle, and then what's the one other thing that you could do or should do often?
Pull.
Right. Exactly. So push it out jungle pull. If you can do that, you'll outfarm the guy. Right.
Makes sense. What if he just goes after you, or someone TPs in and they try and get you? Like,
yeah.
what you do in that spot?
No, that can definitely happen. That's why most of the time AM is not picked at a high level, because he'll get kicked out of his lane by most players. And in that scenario, you have to hope you can pull the small camp. Wow, this is really good to pull. But you can hope to pull the small camp, or you'll see AMs rotate maybe to their off lane. Like, it's really why this hero isn't picked at high level commonly.
Yeah, if you get kicked out of lane, you're
pretty fucked.
Yeah, makes sense.
You're pretty fucked.
You can't jungle properly, and it's like, ugh. But like, I'm just saying on a more general basis, rather than just saying AM. Like, if you're playing, say, Clinks or just any other carry. So if it turns out that they're strong enough to just be able to like 1v1 and kill you, or if they, for example, I see this situation a lot when I play Clinks, right? I'm maybe a little underfarmed or something, and my support is doing God knows what, and then like if I meet the two of them, they'll be able to kill me essentially, right? They can just jump me or something, like, and that happens a lot with that scenario happens a lot, just not with any specific hero, but just I find that happens a lot, right? Like,
Yep.
and then you're also not strong enough to jungle, so in that spot it's just a bit rough. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, there really isn't much to do. I mean, if you're in that position where you cannot jungle and you cannot lane, you have 2 options. And this is why, like, I really do want to keep it as simple as possible, because it's not easy, but it is this simple. If you literally cannot jungle and cannot lane, you have to pull and then get the wave under the tower, or go to a different lane.
Makes
Like
sense.
those are the literal only two options in that scenario, right? And but
Okay.
it is important if you miss that pull, right? Let's say you can't lane and you forget that minute's pull, you're losing a minute of farm, or 30 seconds
lot,
of farm.
yeah.
It's a lot. So yeah, it is a really big deal. Like that is what will separate you from the next set of players. Just being able to say, this lane sucks. Okay, I need to pull. Like if that instantly computes in your head, you'll be way better than these players. Because it is true. Like this lane's hard. You can't fight Slaughter, and there will be way worse lanes than this too.
For sure.
Yeah.
Slala didn't do shit relative to what he can do, for sure.
Oh yeah, he definitely could have done a lot more. Yeah. But definitely in this game, I wish I was a bit more of an AM player to really know exactly his jungling timings. But I can tell you for a fact, this game was just got a bit AFK. You had a bit of problem from minute 5 to 8 in getting the lane back and pulling. But then from there, like at this point, it kind of felt like you were still laning 12 minutes in, which is just a problem because you could be jungling a couple of camps per minute now, and that causes your battle fury timing to be not great. Right? Even though your net worth will be towards the top, it's obviously very relative.
The top relative to like people who are farming badly, which doesn't mean anything. I get it.
Yeah, exactly. Even here, I will say that here that this is just at this point you want to be very, very careful. Like you're still sort of laning. It's just bad. Like essentially, what you need to be doing is just jungling at this point. Jungling and then moving towards the other lanes. Like, is it okay to stay top? Yes, if there's no one top, right? But like here, you push in the lane, you see a fight happening, you could just start taking this camp, and then going towards mid. Right? If you think the fights are rotating towards top, you can run, move back towards mid or towards bottom.
Yeah, just bounce. I guess it's not worth going in these fights. Like at best, I get one kill. Probably
right, you're
like
so
very likely
weak
to get
right
killed.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, it's fine to just farm your jungle because Underlord's bottom. Okay, so you farm this. Okay, bottom wave shoves in. Sniper kicks you out. It is what it is. This is okay. The only thing is you could have farmed... So the only thing is that you could have farmed the entirety of the jungle, which when you have Battle Fury is typically the better option on any mage. If you can just farm this, like if you can farm your entirety of your jungle, just do that. And it's good to push out lanes and all, but the problem is if you don't know where the enemy is, which in this case you didn't truly know where they were, right? The sniper ended up still just AFK being bottom. Your hero just once again cannot do anything. It is what it is on any mage. And you can just take the safe farm. So I understand why you show up here. It makes sense. You should have blunk out a bit faster, but it would have been okay if you just kind of wiped through the jungle. I don't hate you staying bottom here. It's okay. Definitely okay.
No, I just have this idea that I should be farming like triangle and like the bottom two camps, right? But maybe just not on this hero at this time.
No. Yeah. It can be on this hero at this time. It just depends on the game, right?
Right. Fair enough.
Where are the enemy heroes? Sometimes it's as simple as that. That should be the main thing that often dictates your farming, right? Like, yes, certain heroes need to farm in different areas. For instance, if you're playing Drow or Medusa, typically you're going to farm the triangle a bit more. However, those heroes will still farm this throughout the early game until the game gets a bit more aggressive. When it gets towards minute 12, 13, 14, people start moving, maybe they'll leave this area, they'll head towards the safer triangle and play towards bottom. But if the enemy team is invading the triangle, they're not going to force themselves to be here. They'll take this. Right?
Yeah, fair enough.
That's why, and it's not bad that you're farming this. This is okay, but if this sniper is like bullying the shit out of you and just being annoying, I mean, it's definitely weird what he's doing, to be fair. It's not particularly efficient on his part. But
the Pudge is like also kind of hanging about back there, he was like poking in and out.
Yeah, he was. Okay, I don't mind you looking at that fight. They were all kind of low. Yeah. Technically, you could have ran over and mana voided this guy. You would have gotten like a double kill. You actually should have done it.
Yeah.
Only because, he has so much mana. So, you could have like walked over, mana voided him, double kill, walked away. It actually would have been a really, really big play, to be honest.
No, you're right. It would have probably could have made the game for sure.
And I think I mentioned this earlier, but I'd like to repeat it just for your sake. Like, when it comes to mana void, what should you be doing?
like
previous to the fight or going up to the fight?
Just figuring out who's the guy you're going after, right? The guy who has the biggest mana pool, and then just checking him, I guess.
Yeah, because in the early game, you aren't killing anyone except for the high mana pool guy, 9 times out of 10. The only person you're killing is the mana pool guy that you can insta-kill when he runs out of mana.
Sometimes you're lucky and there's like 3 of them, but sometimes, like in this game, it's just Willow, right?
Sure, yeah, it is basically just Willow. Maybe this guy has mana boots. No, okay. But, that was good. That was a good manta. That was a nice manta. Prevent the dismember. That's good. Shift to bottom. Solid. That's good. The only thing I would have liked to see you do is try to kill the SF here. I don't like that you're this passive, and the reason why is, like, I understand that you're farming triangle. It's okay. But I need you to be looking at the map here, and the next step for you when it comes to expanding the map, because this game, it's pretty good. You are keeping the map open. You're not running into your teammates. Like, a couple sessions ago, you were literally face planting into your Lina here. Not every time, but occasionally you would do it, and it was, like, super game losing. So this is great. This is a step in the right direction. It's just that now the next thing you do as well is identify who is actually shoving the lane out. This guy is not a threat in the slightest. He's the exact opposite. Right. He's food. And you want to take this food. And when you get really good, this is how you solo carry games easily. You push out these lanes, and then when someone comes, you don't say, oh shit, there's someone here, and you say, who is it, right? Who's here?
Who is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just worried there's more, though. I'm always worried there's, like...
Most of the time, it's not. It's just not, because the thing is, why would they be 2 or 3 heroes sitting behind this guy? Like,
in the jungle, maybe? I don't
know. Maybe there's a sniper, but you're going for an in-and-out kill, right? You're trying to kill this guy in 3 seconds. If you don't instantly kill him, you get out. I mean, they're not just... I can assure you, 0% of the time, they're sitting on the hill waiting for you.
Yeah, fair enough.
They're just not.
Yeah, even if they're farming, you go in, you kill them, they respond, you bounce.
You run away, exactly. You're not trying to take a 30-second team fight. Yeah.
No, sure, I get it.
So this SF
like
farming,
here, I should have got on him. Yeah.
Exactly. This guy, you even said earlier, like, oh, he became such a problem. And to be honest, a part of it's you. You just let him farm 30% of the map as a support SF with a blink dagger. You know, this guy's no defensive option. Yeah, and he's just doing his thing. So. Okay, this is a pretty solid jump. The only thing you need to do here... Actually, I want you to try to tell me what you could do here better before I say it. Okay. So, TPN, pretty good pace. It was a reasonable reaction time, so that was good. But right here, from here on, what could you have done better?
Okay, so pause. Oh, wait. From here, just like... Okay, so you think the blink on the sniper was fine? Or
I think it's okay. Yeah. His mana pool's actually... He has Aegis, so maybe it's not great, but...
Oh, yeah, he has Aegis here, I remember.
Yeah, maybe it's not great, but it's okay. It's okay.
I figured, take out the high damage guy out of the fight. There's no one else I can jump. The Willow's dead already.
Yep.
Maybe I should have gotten... The SF is right next to the Slardar, so I'm kind of a bit concerned about being stun locked and wrecked.
Yeah, I think the sniper jump's pretty good. It was actually in how you jump the sniper is what I want you to try to analyze here.
Oh, right. Behind him, right?
Yeah, so that was part of it. You got lucky on... Yeah, the manta kind of worked out, but also, notice when you use the manta. Just as I play it. You hit him twice before clicking manta, which might not seem like a big deal. It's a big deal. It needs to be blink manta. Yeah, you're trying to blow this guy up, right? Don't give him time to react.
Makes sense.
You know what I mean? Because these mantas hurt. Every time they don't hit, you're losing a large percentage of your ability to kill someone. So it's a solid play. You're gonna have to kite out. All right, unfortunate.
Yeah, the SS really had some impact there.
Yeah, he hit a good ult. Did he blink on him? I don't even. Okay.
No, I chased the sniper. Yeah, that was.
Oh, he hit
him. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, he's got the arcane blink already. And to be fair, this is where Dota gets really funny, right? If you killed him bottom, this doesn't happen. Yeah.
Right. No, that's me. I get it now. Yeah.
It is and it isn't. It's not solely on you. But that's
kind of. I mean,
it kind of.
The guy who could have stopped him.
It is, but it isn't. Yeah. I'm sure someone fed him outside of that, but you had the opportunity, and that's all that kind of matters. So it's good. You got the pudge TP. It's pretty solid. You can even go back bottom now. Like, even if people scare you out of bottom, like, you hesitate a bit here, and I understand. I can kind of feel you saying, like, oh, maybe Pudge is here, but just keep trying to watch the map, right? I want you to... I know you want to connect with your team, but you'll be able to connect really fast after pushing out bottom. If your team wants to group up here, fine. If someone's saying group up and you have the Scotty completed, you can group up. But if no one's making that call, get out bottom ASAP and then show up. So this isn't bad. The only thing that's a bit psychotic here is you blinking on this Pudge. Because you have no information where anyone else is, and you just, like, YOLO on them, which...
That's a bit like...
it's a chat move, you know?
No, it's a bit unnecessarily risky for no reason.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's definitely very risky. Here you probably should have went Butterfly. Only reason why is their heroes aren't really that mobile, so you don't need a Basher to generally stay on top of them. Basher can help you man up to BKB targets. I don't even know if they have any BKBs though. Okay, they have one on Slaughter.
Yeah, the Slaughter, surely.
Oh, that guy's rich. But to be fair, you're never going on Slaughter. You should never go on Slaughter, right? That guy is not your target unless he gets stunned, right? You know what I mean? If he gets stunned right next to you, you can just pop your mana to burn all of his mana, and that's actually super value because he also can't BKB then, so that's like giga value. But unless he's getting stunned, you never should go close to that guy. It's just not your matchup. So the Butterfly.
Yeah, like in terms of itemization, like do you think there's ever a good time to skip Scotty if there's no like range cores? Or...
Yeah, people skip it. So we can briefly look here. So you'll see some different builds. It's hard for me to explain it without looking at all the matchups, but just at a brief glance, yeah, exactly. There's a lot of factors that make pros decide things, but we see an Ags here. We see Scotty. We see an Abyssal. We actually see a Lincoln's here. Why did he buy Lincoln's? Morphling.
Maybe
It's just Morphling. Yeah, maybe you're maybe thinking dual, right? Something
yeah,
like that.
I was about to say healthy.
Yeah, but which would be reasonable too. But the Morphling Ags is definitely a stupid thing. So bought Lincoln's for that. Slaughter is top, which makes it a bit mad to go top because, frankly, I'm surprised you're not dead. This guy's a Silver Edge. He's just AFK. See, everyone's doing the same thing. Like, they have the opportunity to, like, solo carry the game by getting a side lane pick off, and they're just too worried about hitting creeps. It's like, it's definitely a problem for... It's like the next step to split pushing or pushing in waves, right? Which is not worrying so much about getting picked off and worrying more if there's actually an opportunity to make a game-winning play. Yeah.
Right. It's always a risk, I guess, but it's worth taking sometimes.
It's definitely a risk, but I can guarantee you in this bracket, if people are bottom or top, they're probably alone. And if they're not, it's usually pretty obvious if you're watching.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so weird start. Your team could smoke here. You know, it's kind of a situation where bottom wave is pushed in, but okay, get a good fight. That's nice. Good pick. Only thing I'd say here is if Roche is up, you guys are committing a crime. Okay, it's not. I guess Sniper killed it earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Yeah.
I remember at this time people were saying Roche, and like we were like actively thinking of checking it.
That's good.
I'm not sure because like
you're not sure.
I blinked back. Someone. I'm not sure. I just can't remember. I remember in one game it was like this situation, and someone said Roche. I don't know if I go and check it this game or not. Can't remember. No, I don't. Okay, never mind.
Yeah,
or someone checked it.
Important habit. Yeah, maybe someone did and we weren't watching. But it's definitely very important if you can be the guy who like says, you know,
Roche. Yeah, now's the time.
We want to fight go Roche.
Well, what's the deal with that spot? Why is that like a particularly great spot to Roche? Is it just because everything's pushed and
they're just dead. They're just dead. Like, Aegis is the most important objective in the game, in the current state of Dota. Towers are hard to kill and don't give much gold. Like, they give a bit of map control, that's the biggest thing they do.
When you have the opportunity to take, say, like a tier 2 or Roche, just always goes for Roche?
Well, it depends. It really depends. It depends on where you are. Like, let's say you win a fight here, right? If the enemy is respawning in 25 to 30 seconds and it's early game, you're not going to run across to Roche. It's just not enough time. Obviously. But the reason why this one is... this is a great question, actually. You know, the reason why this one makes a lot more sense is they're dead for a very significant amount of time, and the kill was directly next to Roche Pit. And at a really high level, at the pro level, people intentionally smoke when they want a Roche. They look for kills around the pit, right?
Makes
So
sense.
yeah, this is just they're dead for long enough where you definitely can rosh. Your team can rosh. You have the heroes to do it, and it's near the pit. But the bigger thing is this, yeah, it's mid game and it's close to the Roshan pit.
Yeah, so like here's a great example actually of what I was hoping to kind of like pick your brain on. So, you know, we kill them in the middle, fine. Like at this point, if Roche was up, I mean it's not, but like, you know, we kind of have the opportunity to take down mid tower, or I guess none of us, none of the others, because everything else is not pushed. Fine, but mid tower we can definitely kill.
Yep.
But let's say we had to choose between mid tower and like Roche, which I feel like is the case here, given the timings on the deaths and stuff, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Roche? Okay.
Yeah, because Roche will give you the ability to play more aggressive on your hero in particular. When you get that Aegis, you should be cutting all their waves pretty aggressively, and then you should be initiating fights.
Right, blinking into people and just like getting on them,
yeah,
blowing
as long as
someone
it's
up,
not
and
too
it's fine if I
psychotic.
die in response. Yeah,
Right,
sure.
as long as your team can... you can take it too far, and trust me, people take it too far. Actually, most of the time, people use Aegis too aggressively, like way too aggressively. It makes them into complete psychos, which is also not good. So there's a fine line, but
Sure,
for instance here...
initiate... Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, so here, like, you see how your creep wave's here? If we want to get really advanced, because the creep wave's not close to the tower, what you should be doing is either TPing a side lane and pushing it all the way out in these death timers, or at least farming some of the nearby camps until the wave gets here. So, like, after you push out mid, you should be like, okay, wave's not here, kill the ancient camp, come back. But let's not get too technical. This is fine to take
I mean
mid.
that happens a lot. That happens a lot, yeah. Like, you know, like a wave is like miles away, and then we're just waiting around a tower or something. Yeah, maybe just abandon that and push out a wave instead.
Especially when you're playing someone like Animage, you know? Like, especially as Animage, when your game gets into a good game state, you also want to think about the creep waves and where are the creep waves. Because the creep waves are going to give you information and gold, right? So the big thing here is after you take this mid tower, what's the timer on the clock?
Almost rune.
Yeah, that's fair, but that's not what I'm looking at. That's not what I'm thinking about. When I'm in a winning state like this, that's not what I'm thinking about.
Roche?
No, because the timer doesn't really help you with that. What would you look at the timer
like,
for?
Where are the waves, right?
Yeah,
where are the...
Exactly.
Right, sure.
Yeah, where are the waves? But that's really key. When you're winning the game, you want to make sure all of your waves are pushing in. Because then it allows you to farm your jungle camps while the enemies are killing the creep waves. You get to farm the jungle camps, and you get to see where they are, right?
Okay.
Unless you make educated decisions. So here, you should be going top, right?
Sure.
But specifically to
Venus
here,
went hot, yeah. Right.
you can cut the wave.
Cut the wave?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
You can cut the wave, and then you can farm backwards.
Should I TP? Or, I TP'd instead.
What you did is not terrible. It just forces you to use TP, which is why it's suboptimal.
Right.
All right. So optimally, you say, okay, we took mid tower, and then you know what to do next, because you fall into it's very clear that you just didn't know what to do, and that's okay. It's just like you kind of walk around for a bit. You're like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do, and you're like, okay, I'll TP top. It wasn't slow. It just wasn't fast enough to make the optimal play, which is run top, kill the wave, kill this camp, kill the wave, camp, then the next top wave, something like that, or reconnect with your team if the enemy is starting to get aggressive, and that would be also just more efficient. Yeah.
Is that the case with like a hero not anti-mage, you know, just some other carry?
Yeah, most carries cut waves
Pretty
from
much.
their head.
Pretty much do the same thing, right? Just walk towards it instead of blinking towards the same thing, I guess.
Yeah. And a lot of carries have illusions, like mantas and illusions, and if they don't, well then, yeah, you might not want to. You might want to be a little bit more careful about showing, because then maybe you're just in a dangerous position. This is a great play. This is really, really great. You know, because Animage is so good on the one-on-one. I'm not surprised it even works so well, but the mana burn is just a problem. You can't Silver Edge, can't BKB. Nice.
Also Basher.
Basher too. Yeah, the Basher, it works out. No, it looked great there, for sure.
Yeah, actually looking at this game today, I'm shocked we didn't actually win this. Kind of, yeah, what the hell happened?
Looks like Underlord fucked up a bit here. This was a decent jump. The only thing you need to do is just buy dust. If you know these guys are gonna, if you know they have 2 Silver Edge, this Wraith Band, it's a good Wraith Band. It gives 12 attack speed or whatever, but it's gotta be dust.
That's a kill.
Yeah, that is probably a kill.
Is that just because the supports don't have dust, or is it just because I'm jumping?
It's because you're jumping the back line. Yeah, you shouldn't expect them to have detection. Yeah.
Fair enough.
This was a risky play. I'm curious if it works. Dude, replays are so bugged. God. It's so annoying. This has been in the game for like a month, but no one watches replays, so they don't care.
Heroes disappearing, or what?
Yeah, it's like you're just invisible half the replay. It's a good job. Okay, you died. The only thing I would critique here is you maybe could wait for Manta. Like, you could be like, okay, 6 seconds, just have the discipline, because this guy's not even low. Like, I was afraid he would just turn and click you and you'd die. Thankfully, you got that bash, which was pretty huge, but yeah, that was a good fight. Honestly, that fight mainly was won because of your slaughter pickoff. And that's why plays like, you might be like, oh, how do I win these games? It's like plays like that, right? Ortiz is gonna make that play every game. He's gonna make that play 5 times. No, he's gonna make that play in this bracket 15 times every game.
Yeah, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, this is really important. So this is the opposite of the slaughter pickup. This just makes no sense. I don't understand.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, it's like, what is the goal? You know, I'm not. You don't have particular information. It's not like we really saw them on this top board. Okay, we actually did see the sniper, to be fair, if you want to argue that.
Yep.
That's reasonable.
No. But like, yeah, I guess just nothing. That was just like what to do.
Right, you're not sure what to do. And the biggest thing is, like, you can call your team to smoke. So I would say if the Switch Doctor has a smoke, which he might, yeah, so he does, I would let the Unurler push out midwave, and I'd smoke his 3. And that's a giga game-winning play. Talking about game-winning plays, a 3-man smoke mid to late game in this bracket, in every bracket. I don't know why I'm saying this bracket. In every bracket, wins games. Because you get the numbers advantage. When you bump into the Slaughter, instead of him like being able to fuck with you here, he just gets a Witch Doctor stun.
I'm dead, yeah.
Yeah, dead. Instead, like, you blink on him, and, you know, I think you remembered last time working out so well, but that was because you kind of got a clean jump, and he wasn't level 25, and he didn't get his BKB off, and he didn't have AC. It was a bit different.
I think, yeah, and I think the Lina was nearby. I expected him to do something, but I guess
he can't do too much to a BKB Slaughter, you know.
that makes sense. Yeah.
It's not really.
I thought he might like join in and stun or something. Yeah, I guess the BKB is the real problem.
BKB is
nothing you can do. Yeah.
Especially because he has the corrosive haze undispellable and shard, so when he stuns you, you're amped. You're guaranteed amped. You can't even manta it off, and that would be an easy way to man up to him, but you just can't dispel the corrosive haze. Okay. Only thing I'd say here is you could, if you see the Slaughter bottom, because he's your only threat, he's the only person who can solo kill you, you should be pushing out top hard. You don't want to be like running to bottom here.
Right.
And
yeah. No, I see.
Once again,
I think at this point,
yep.
I think at this point in the game, I just felt like the game closed off, and like I don't really know what to do. Like the whole map's dark. I just don't really have any idea.
But it's not fully dark. That's the big thing. I don't like try to be very careful about saying like it's dark. It is, and it becomes dark in a second. But when is it dark? Because you push out top. But as I'm saying, the only information you need, and this is very important, is the Slaughter. That's it. That's the only. I mean, could you die to like Willow plus SF? Yeah, if they perfectly execute it, or like Willow Pudge, or like Willow Sniper. Yeah, that could happen. I mean, to be fair, his build is shit, and it's not even like he has a blink or whatever. But
the Willow's also showing. I mean, like, yeah.
He's showing
no,
too.
I get you though. Yeah.
And so it would be very reasonable for you to take more risk. You could farm up all these camps, complete your Abyssal, you know, no reason to blink towards your team. This is what I mean by keeping open the map, you know, like, yes, it's a risk late game, you could die, but you do have buyback too, but this makes no sense, right? Because your 2 threats are literally here, and you're going towards it, which can be okay if your old team is here, but they're not. They're definitely not. They're, you know, they're just not. The Invoker and the Witch Doctor are bottom, right? Yeah. And the other 2 aren't even close, so... And if you are going to blink on someone, it's got to be a clean jump, right? Anytime you blink like this, in your head, you need to think, like, I deserve to lose. Not that harsh, but, like, in, like, a...
Pretty much, I get it.
Yeah, because it's all about the jump. Late game is all about the jump. Who gets on who jumps who. And now that you mess up your blink like this, things are going to get...
I'm just dead. Pretty much just... Yeah, I think I die. Yeah, I do. It's just a huge feed. Now I get it.
Yeah, BKB's on cooldown, no teammates, and you run into your threat. So just... definitely a big thing as well is this is a big message I actually really think is an important thing you could take out of this lesson in particular. In the late game, you need to think more. Like, this has nothing to do with opening the map. In team fights, you need to know who you're jumping and who you're avoiding for the most part. Every pro knows this during the fight. Because it's constantly changing based on items. That just takes a lot of intuition. We can't just cover that now. But you need to be thinking and like, who am I jumping? So who are you jumping in these fights, generally? With your
not
items.
Widow, she disappears.
Right.
Probably just Sniper or SF, right?
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. Sniper
Pudge can chomp me.
Maybe Pudge, actually.
Maybe if he doesn't chomp me, I guess. But
it's pretty hard for him to jump you because of counterspell. You should be clicking this if you're in any danger, and then he doesn't really do anything to you. You know?
he can dismember still after counterspell, like
he can,
wears out, right?
But he would have to be really talented because that means you're not clicking Manta, and he's like blinking. He would have to time it really, really well because.
That makes sense. Okay, so it's jumpable, yeah. I'm just a bit concerned he starts dismembering me and then I'm fucked because I'm stunned, right? Essentially.
It's just super unlikely because he has to channel it, and it means you probably haven't clicked Manta. He'd have to guess the right one, not do the counter spell. You wouldn't be BKB'd. Like he'd have to tick all these boxes, which it would take a miracle for this guy to get it right. So.
Okay, fair enough.
Probably not.
So I guess like I'm jumping just to like go back to that point. I'm jumping SF and Sniper here, right? Like the Willow can just disappear into like.
If you had Abyssal, you could jump.
Shadow Realm. Ah, true. Yeah.
That'd be the only other thing. So let's watch how you play this next team fight, assuming you might buy back. Okay, maybe you hold it. You have the Underlord.
Oh, I remember this. I was like, Underlord, cast your spells. Just keep casting them.
He's doing it. Yeah, he's got it on lock. Nice. Okay, held your buyback. Kills himself, unfortunately, but...
Yeah, no, that was annoying. I saw that. I think I remember at the time I was like, what are you doing? Just stay on high ground and just cast your 2 spell. I can literally never push.
This is true. This is... So here, you should get your team to smoke. You guys are having a hard time. Like, yes, they have an Aegis, but in the late game, like, you guys have not made a single coordinated smoke. So, you got to stop. The big things that would have caused you to win this game late game is avoiding the 2 times now that you've kind of just face planted in the slaughter and then messed up your blink. That's happened twice.
Right.
That needs to be avoided. And then these team fights, you can be the guy. You don't even have to fully coordinate them. If you smoke 3 people, the other 2 people will probably follow. Right?
Yeah.
And then you've gotten your team on the same page. And then all you need to do is let Underlord get gone on, let Lina initiate with Shadowblade, and then counter initiate. Yeah, and then these blinks in can be okay, but you'd have to be KB if you're gonna go on a frontliner, because if you go on this guy, all the attention is on you, and attention is a very advanced but important concept in Dota. When you go in, if you're not unkillable, you can't just go on the frontliner as a melee hero, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because all of the attention is forward. Everyone's camera is going to be on you. Everyone's camera.
Makes sense.
And this is the case in any esport. Like, no matter what game you're playing, if you go on the frontliner, at a low level, everyone is looking straight forward. At a high level, people begin to expect flanks and better positioning. But for now, every camera will be here.
Yeah, makes sense.
And so you can avoid it as anti-mage. Most heroes just honestly hit the Pudge there. If you're playing, Medusa, Drow, SF, you're just hitting Pudge because you can't go for the backline. That's not...
Right.
But as anti-mage...
Could I have done something different there? Could I
Yes.
have, like, jumped someone else?
Yes, so remember your targets. Who are your targets?
SF and Sniper.
So if Lina kills Willow here, where are they going to be? You don't need to see them. You should be able to assume where they're going to be. Where are they going to be?
Either south of Lina or west.
Yeah, probably here, right? Because maybe they're here, but...
Pudge.
Yeah, they probably would have killed this wave if they were here. So probably where the Pudge is coming from. And you have a good ward.
Right.
So what you need to do here is just chill. When the Pudge blinks in, I understand it, but you need to be watching the map. If there's no follow-up, you could kill the Pudge. But immediately, you see the slaughter, right? Because you have a sentry.
See the SF. Yeah, you see everyone. Yeah.
And then you make this jump. Exactly. And the problem is, yeah, you're honestly making a decent play and reacting here. Because your guy got a Willow pick off. It's like a decent time to take a fight. The problem is 2 things. Number 1, your team's not here. Which is obviously them being shit. It is, no doubt. They should react. But the thing is, you have to be like, okay, my team's not here. And then the only thing you should be looking for is a pick-off, right? On that Cypher.
I guess just bounce here, right? Like, the Lina got pulled, and she's for sure dead there. unless I can kill the Pudge. But then like 3 other people show up, so maybe I should just be like, forget it. Like, okay, she's dead. We got the Willow.
Yeah, but you can look to assassinate someone. Like you could look to assassinate the sniper, especially if you have Abyssal, which, you know, if you're a little bit farmer, you'd have it. But that's besides the. It's not besides the point. It's part of the point. But yeah, you can look to assassinate the sniper. You could take him out of like you try to blow this guy up and then get out. And people will not react.
I have buyback still, I guess. I should take a little bit more risk.
Yeah, as long as it's on the right person. Yeah, and it's at the right time. The big thing is thinking about, you know, who you're going on. So it seems reasonable. Okay, the only thing here is you shouldn't mana void him right away. Only because he has Satanic. But maybe you just don't know exactly how much damage it's going to do. But you kind of want to make sure he dies. So if he gets Satanic off, then maybe you'd save the mana void. But things work out. Let's not focus on that too much. Basically, you just have to be careful about Satanic. And wasting
sometimes mana void too quickly, like because it's panic.
I think over time you'll just get comfortable with how much it does. So it's not...
Yeah,
it's good to go bottom here. Be a little careful.
Bash gets off.
Actually, probably could have killed him there. Honestly, it's a bit of a tough call. Maybe Slaughter would have came back in, but you just had all your spells, so maybe could have gone in and BKB.
Yeah, I'm a bit too conservative sometimes. Like here, no, this is no one's nearby.
This is the opposite of conservative. This is as liberal as it gets. Nah, but the big thing here is
get in there.
I don't hate it, right? You have Vision of Sniper. It's about the jump though. You gotta make sure if you're gonna go on him, it's an instant. It has to be directly on top of him. This 1 second of walking, I mean, yeah, it's a risky play, but it might have been okay if you directly blink on him.
Right, yeah, no, I get it. And then I have to BKB. I feel like, yeah, then I walk around with BKB doing nothing, which is a bit...
Yeah, I can see why you BKB'd. It was a reasonable play to BKB. Honestly, the jump is not terrible. It's just that you fucked up the blink a bit, and your team wasn't really on the same page. So, a big thing in this... At this level, people kind of group up. So unless you're going to instantly kill him, which at this point of the game, unfortunately, you don't instantly kill him. You can't even solo kill him really unless you have unless he's really ignored. So you have to be a bit cautious about jumping. Unfortunate, you need to push out bottom. Okay, that's good. You could even keep going. You don't need to back so fast. This is very bad. Like after they take Roche, they're not going to come bottom, and if they do, they're not going to kill you. Unless you know there's someone who's going to solo kill you, you shouldn't be just instantly leaving. Like this Slaughter, maybe he could actually. I mean, he's kind of at the point where he's a threat. He's got this like Moonshard or whatever, but he's probably not going to try. You should be pushing this in and creating some split pressure, and then blink out and TP back. Yeah, put a little bit more pressure. I want to push your limits a bit in the side lane. In general, that should be a big theme of this session. Make sure your blinks are clean. Make sure you're menting right away. This blink is clean. Unfortunately, AM kind of falls off at this point in the game, so things just won't look that great. But this blink was fantastic. It was really a... Oh, fuck.
Oh, he gets eaten by the Pudge. Yeah, I remember. I was like, fuck.
Damn. Yeah, at this point in the game, you kind of just lack... You're very underfarmed, which sounds weird, because you have 31k net worth. But, you should just have way more CS, and then this Tread should be like Bloodthorn or MKB. So you can be killing these people a bit faster.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find I have that problem. I kind of maybe lose a bit more farm focus later in the game, and then we have these like situations where no team can really just like push high ground, so then everyone's just milling around, and during that time I kind of like my farm goes to shit. I stop focusing on farm.
Yeah, it's
a problem.
I definitely could nitpick. I'll even nitpick just because that is a good point. So like when you're pushing up bottom here, if I was really to nitpick every decision you make, so for instance here when you blink forward, you could kill this camp. You should blink to this camp, kill the camp, and then blink to the wave. Right? So you could have farmed an extra camp there. In between that, you should farm the small camp.
Yeah, I think at this point, like, I just didn't feel like farm made any difference. Because I'm 6 slotted.
It definitely does. Boots are not 6 slotted 50 minutes in. Yeah. True. Because you're not really... The goal of AM at this point is not to like chase people around. I mean, it can happen, and like sometimes you will need to chase, but you would way rather have like a Bloodthorn or an MKB if they have some evasion or something. Yeah.
Just blink on someone and like wreck them immediately, right?
Even Refresher. Yeah, exactly. Like there's a bunch of, you know, you don't have Moon Shard either. You don't have Ags. You don't have Shard. You have a ton actually to you know, farm up actually. So it actually really does. There's
No, I get it. Yeah.
If a pros in this scenario is like 700 CS, would probably be about what they have.
It makes sense. Yeah.
No. Okay, this is fine.
This
I
is
think you just
bad
didn't know what
blink.
Slaughter does. That's okay. I mean, honestly, these are the blinks where I don't really care because it's like it wasn't a bad blink. It was just like you clearly didn't know Slaughter was this much of a problem. It's fine. Just don't do it next time when he's 6 slotted. No.
Could just BKB maybe. I don't know.
No. You'd still get fucked up. And BKB doesn't dispel his Corrosive Haze once he hits level 25 because of his talent. So.
No, I mean with BKB, jump in with BKB.
Yeah, he could click it on you because it goes through immunity. But you're right, it could work. Only problem is he could just click it on you. You wouldn't also do any damage to him at this point.
I guess just focus the sniper on the SF. Like.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. Yeah. Okay, let's just watch this. So I think the problem with this jump is there's just no one going in. Like you can't really go in first when you don't have BKB. You just have to let someone else go in. You have to let the Witch Doctor throw the stun. And the problem with this play as well is that it's not in vision. This entire time I'm like watching you walk around. Like the fact that you go here instead of staying in the tree line is very bad because they're gonna see you. Right? You just can't afford to let them see you. Like if you're gonna go in, even there they saw you, 100%.
I was trying to spot them. I was trying to like get like a pick off.
No, it's good, but the problem is if you see them, they're gonna see you and they should react. You know, hopefully. So you should be just waiting for them to be stupid, basically. Otherwise, this happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, now the game's pretty.
Yeah, I got tipped there as well. I think it's over at this point.
Yeah, I would even suggest, like, at this level, I mean, the BKB is good, but honestly, you can go, like, instead of going BKB this game, you could have went Abyssal Butterfly, and then that would have given you way more solo kill potential, and you can play it around a lot more around finding the open target, finding the separated player. And if you get good at that, you'll carry these games. The reason why you particularly feel like you need BKB is because every time you jump in, the enemy wasn't really distracted. Not every time, but I would say probably like 8 out of 10 times they weren't busy with your teammates. Like, to be fair, your teammates didn't initiate almost at all, besides Lina, which makes it a bit hard. But just let them get distracted. Like, let the enemy go in on your Underlord. Just wait, have patience, split push until that happens, and then go on the back line when they show themselves. That would have made this game way easier.
Yeah, I generally skip BKB, to be honest, like on AM. I just feel like it's a pretty useless item most of the time. Because like you're not just looking to stay in and just like man fight.
Yeah, I think at a high level that's like definitely very wrong, to be blunt. Only because people will always basically react to you blinking in. And so you need a BKB often, but you don't want to have to buy it most of the time, unless like on any mage, because your hero falls off in damage pretty hard.
Yeah,
as
no,
the
it makes
game
sense.
progresses. So.
Yeah, the games where I find I have to go BKB, I tend to just have lost, like this one. So, yeah, maybe Butterfly would have been better. You're right.
But then the play style matters, right? Just always keep in mind, like if you don't buy BKB, you need to play as if you don't have BKB. You can't just blink on the guy who initiates. You know what I mean?
Right.
So as long as you do that, you can play around items in different ways. Just have to be aware of what your item enables you to do.
Okay. I think I've got a pretty good idea. So this game basically lost because a couple of weird feeds ran towards the Slardar. What else? Wasn't aggressive enough early?
Well, I mean, there's a lot. Well, okay, so yeah, we can start with the lane. So in the lane, anything you remember from the lane in particular?
I do. Need to pull back onto the like more creep aggro. Need to farm the jungle a bit more.
Right. So just
timings.
Just to push on that point a little bit. So on the creep aggro, do it more for every individual CS so that it can't be denied. Right? Not just occasionally, try to do it consistently. Another thing was keeping the lane back. The main way you need to do that is by getting your range creep denied. Right.
Right.
Kill your range creep and then aggro deny. and get that. And keep your lane mech as much as you can. Keep it static. Focus on the CS because you had like 23 CS a minute 5 and then 28 a minute 8. Like,
Right. It's terrible. Yeah.
yeah, I mean some fights happened in between that which like distracted you a bit, but it also was because the wave shoved in way harder than it had to. So if you can control it, your games will snowball way faster. And then from there, once the laning stage breaks down and you have the items to jungle, which would be like broadsword and treads, ring of health, broadsword, treads, you can start shoving in the wave and jungling the nearby camps. Right, you can start to be efficient. So that would be the lane. In terms of the mid game, definitely focus on when you are shoving in those side lanes, especially when you have Manta, look for pickoffs. Manta is the pickoff item. If you have Manta, don't be a wuss. You can solo kill almost anyone if you play it properly, if you blink on them right.
Makes sense. I guess like that applies to say like Clinks or any other hero, like I don't know, Juggernaut.
Yeah, it's not aim specific in the slightest. Yeah.
Right.
Most carries, if they hit their timing, can kill people. So don't let them. If you let them farm 30% of the map, you should like. What most players don't understand is they only look at their own game, and this is for all competitive anything. It's a very shallow mindset that most players have. Not intentionally. It's just like the only thing they look at is their own net worth, their own game, their own kills. That's not. Right. That's just not how you win the game. You also have to keep in mind: am I shutting down the enemy? Is what I'm doing preventing this guy from getting a 27-minute arcane blink or whatever it was on a support?
Oh, right. Makes sense. Yeah. That was terrible.
Yeah. But the most common example of that would be an Earthshaker trying to farm Blink Dagger. At a high level, constantly teams will say, don't let the Earthshaker farm Blink, right? Don't let him farm this open wave. Right?
Makes sense.
And that's a very common scenario. Don't let them get to the Blink.
Yeah, I guess on the flip side too, that's why I find that when I'm supporting heroes like Leshrac and stuff are great because you just have unlimited space to farm everything.
Exactly. In Heimomar, it's brutal to try to farm on Lesh. You can still do it. Trust me, there's space, but it's tough. It's tough because the
I get it.
Mid laner is going to try to solo kill you when you're 900 HP with Mana Boots trying to push in a side lane.
No, I get it. Yeah, like in that spot, if I was the SF and someone better at AM played AM, I would have just been dead, right?
You'd be dead.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right, so
you'd be like, I'm taking the open space, but then you just feed AM and kill. It's like, oh.
Right, I was just like, no.
That doesn't work. That's why, like, pushing in waves is good, especially in low MMR, but the higher and higher you get, as people become more and more aggressive, it becomes harder, yeah. For two reasons. People try to kill you, and because your cores will take more farm. So then there's much less space on the map.
Makes sense. Okay. So mid-game, try to be a bit more aggressive with pickoffs when I hit the timings. If I'm separated from the team.
Yeah, exactly. Just get those lanes in further. Many times you're pushing it out, and it's great. You're doing better on that. You're still not going further enough, and that's okay. It's kind of just about. It's somewhat a matter of time of figuring out how far you can push yourself. But you need to take. I'm not saying like hit the tier 2, just like get the wave up to the tier 2, farm the deeper camps. Take that risk because this game, early game, it's almost impossible for them to kill you. It's really hard, really hard. And I didn't really feel like you were jungling deep jungle camps. It just kind of felt like you were pushing in the wave and then retreating to your triangle before killing all the nearby camps, which you could do as long as you don't blink on the camps.
No, just walk in. If they're there, like bounce, right? Like,
exactly. Fine. Yep. You've wasted their time. And if they come to you with the wrong heroes, just fight them. If they show up with AA, AA and some other weak hero, just kill the AA with your Manta if you have it, and then run away.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Late game, like a bit more careful about who I get on.
Target priority's got to be way different. Yeah.
Right.
What you're saying.
Got it.
Yeah. So it's a lot of information, but just if you can fix some of these things, I think you're looking better. The farming's way better. I think the laning stage is looking better. It's obviously still like you're almost there. You know what I mean? You're starting to apply the concepts. Just if you push them a bit further, then you'll really notice a big difference where you're going to have 60 CS a minute 10 instead of 42 this game. Your Battle Fury will be a minute and a half earlier. Your Manta will be 3 minutes earlier. That 3 minute earlier Manta lets you solo kill the SF. That guy never even remotely comes close to any item. And then,
and then he just feeds mid-game, and then it's over, right?
Exactly. Dota becomes way easier. Like, small things make the biggest of differences. It doesn't take a lot to throw off a game. and snowball. It really
Yeah,
doesn't.
that mid-game fight, we would have just like handily won if he hadn't
Sure.
managed to.
Yeah, kill you with an arcane bike. Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of things like that. Like that one's the most noticeable one we saw. But I mean, there's so many things like that. If we really want like 0.5 speed watch every fight, the amount of things you'd be like, wow, if I shut this guy down a bit harder in the lane, he wouldn't have been able to kill my Witch Doctor or whatever. You know.
No, I get you. Yeah, no, I
So-
get you. It's awesome. The snowball is huge.
It's huge. It's impossible to see, but the effects are there, 100%. Right, man.
Okay.
Um,
All right.
pleasure.
Thanks for the session.
Yeah, and thanks everyone for watching. I think I'm recording. I hope I'm recording. Okay, yeah, I
Well,
was. Yeah, I was.
I think I learned a lot. That's for sure. So that helps.
It's good.
This is a pretty good info. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of advanced stuff. So it's going to take some time. And I guess that's a good way to
Oh.
end this video and the session as well, which is have some patience. You know, I think
Okay.
even S-Ray, you've been noticing that it takes time. You know, you're going to have these mental blocks even when you're learning. And it's,
Yeah.
you just have to keep going because eventually things will compound and then you'll consistently win. But improvement's a slow process that has to compound before you really get its big effects, unfortunately.
No, for sure. No, I get you. All right. Thanks for your time, man.
Yeah,
I really
GGs.
appreciate it.
I'll talk soon.
GG's. Talk soon.
See ya.
All right. Bye bye.